This is real for me. I need this. This is a therapy for me.
Before we dive in, a quick but important note. We are not licensed mental health professionals or medical experts. The conversations that we have on this podcast are based on our personal experiences, thoughts, and opinions. Nothing shared here is intended to be taken as medical advice, a diagnosis, or a substitute for professional help. If you are struggling or need support, please reach out to a qualified mental health provider or medical professional. There's a podcast I listen to, and their philosophy is ABR, always be recording.
Yeah.
Then, naturally you get to start a conversation and stuff, and sometimes it's a really funny conversation that you guys start with. And
right.
It's we should have been recording this part too.
Yeah.
Give the people a little bit of a personable approach to them, not just okay, serious time,
yeah.
boom. 'Cause obviously we talk about very serious and very heart-wrenching or heartfelt stuff on here, so it's kind of, I think, fun to ease into it a little bit, especially when either I don't know the guest, she doesn't know the guest, neither one of us know the guest. I like to kind of break the ice a tiny bit instead of just okay, tell me all your trauma now. We just met, so trauma dump, let's go.
Right. Well, some people that works though.
Honestly, yeah, I've noticed that a lot of times I get more trauma dumped on by people I don't know.
Yeah.
Than people I do. My close friends, they don't tell me shit hardly. But then people I don't know, I'm like, oh, so this. I'm like,
are you an empath? Have you been told you're an empath?
I think so, yeah.
I am, for sure.
I am,
oh, yeah,
too.
You definitely are.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
So
it's like a fault almost.
It's a huge fault.
Well, yeah, I think I've always said it's a blessing and a curse. Because, I remember even in third grade having this random kid that I'd known in elementary school, but I have this distinct memory of him just sitting there and talking to me about his problems, and we're in third grade, and he's like, I just feel like I can tell you whatever I need to.
Right,
and I'm like, you can, that's fine. It's
some
weird,
people just have that energy though. Some people just give off that I want to sit here and listen to you. I'll have that. Some people, I tend to trauma dump way too much.
Yeah.
But I'll have some people that I'm I haven't told anyone this in decades, it feels like. And then there's other people I don't even want to tell you my name.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. No, that's true. It's the energy people put off.
Yeah. Well, and body language and stuff, how there's so much psychology that goes into communication.
Yeah.
How open are they? How much eye contact are they holding? Are they mirroring and stuff?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff are they doing? Because if they're just not doing anything, I'm just gonna end it right here, bro.
Right. You don't want to talk to me, obviously.
Yeah. So I don't know. I try to look into a lot of the psychology of communication itself.
That's a big thing of what I do is I'm just so fascinated by neuroscience. And so I seriously geek out on it. I wish I was a neuroscientist, but it would take 8 years more of school. So I'm not going to do that. But
that's me. I geek out so hard on neurobiology, neuroscience, psychology. I never went to school for any of it. And I'm glad I didn't though, because it allows me to learn about it at my own pace.
Yeah.
And learn about the
enjoy
stuff.
it.
Yeah. Instead of just oh, today we're going to learn about this. And I'm I really don't give two shits about this part right here. And it's we have to because it's part of the curriculum. I'm then screw the curriculum. Teach me about all the cool shit,
right.
So.
Yeah. I wanted to go to school for psychology, but when I was in high school, they were oh, no, you don't do psychology. That's a fake degree. And you only do that if you want to work as a school counselor, and that's it. And
really?
Now, I've wished I had actually done it because I'm still fascinated with all of it. But
so what is your background?
I have 2 degrees. My first one is in radio and television production.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then I also went back to school and got a degree in business administration.
Okay.
So that's my bachelor's is in business.
Okay.
And then I've worked in marketing. I've done everything. So what do you want to know? So I have a marketing company. I've done a lot in marketing over the past 10 years, but I've also been a theater teacher. I've also been a talent agent. I've done so much things. But in 2019, right before COVID happened, I started a company that was teaching women entrepreneurs how to start and scale online businesses. So I was a business coach for that kind of niche.
Okay.
And it was kind of one of those things where I really wanted to do it and I wanted to help people and I knew I could, but the universe was you're not ready yet. COVID happened and I was let's day drink. And And so I kind of like pushed that whole thing out of my mind. It was really weird. I just kind of was like, I'm done with that. I'm not doing that anymore. And then I went and worked for a marketing company, became a marketing director of a large medical organization out here, literally told them to fire me and hire my own marketing company. So
Really?
they did.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, that was kind of a risk. I kind of went a little nuts. My husband was like, I hope you know what you're doing. But, that kind of helped me get my footing with my marketing company to already have a built-in client. Mm-hmm. And then I grew it from there. But lo and behold, I also hate marketing. So
I feel like the people that are in it hate it the most.
It's not for the weak.
No.
And it's getting really hard with AI now.
Mm-hmm.
And Canva and everything. I mean, I feel like it's probably, and everybody's going to hate me for saying this, but it's probably one of the fastest industries getting knocked out by AI.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
So.
I mean, there's a difference between sales and marketing,
Mm-hmm.
and marketing is just spreading your message to the mass, and AI can do that quicker than anyone.
Well, and it's a lot of like marketing is really just trial and error,
Right.
because what works one time, you can say, oh, we've got the research, we've got the data, but people interact with things differently in a day.
Change.
Yeah. And so there is no like standard. And that's the thing that kind of bugs me about marketing is my clients always want that secret pill. Like, oh, you're going to do this and
Everyone
then I'm going to
wants
have
it.
all of that. Yeah. And I'm like, I cannot guarantee anything. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how this is going to hit. And so that's why I'm back to coaching and I'm back to growing that. And I've been doing a lot of classes and certifications, and I'm actually attending Harvard next month.
Are you
way.
Okay, it's just for a 3-day thing, but
Cool.
I am doing it. And I bought myself a Harvard sweatshirt.
There you go.
I would
Hey.
too.
Hey,
Literally.
absolutely. I mean, I would do it even if I wasn't going to Harvard.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so I got a message from you saying that you are NLP and stuff, and I'm curious about more of the psychology stuff.
Okay.
I know that business is probably a big part of your life, but first of all, what is NLP?
NLP is Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
Okay.
So it's kind of, neuro is obviously the brain, linguistic is language, and then programming is literally programming.
Yeah.
So it's how our brains use language and habits and even body language memories to kind of keep our brains moving forward, which very often ends up keeping us stuck.
Right.
So I use neuro-linguistic programming and a lot of mindset tools and then a lot of neuroscience to actually help people rewire their brains. And it's crazy because most people think that when you talk about like stuff like this, they're like, that's magic or like that's not real, but it's just science that takes consistency and takes work in it, and it takes effort. But literally our brains are plastic. I'm sure you guys have heard of neuroplasticity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so your brain is changing and being programmed constantly every day of your life. And you can either let it go on autopilot and whatever happens, and you just kind of deal with it, or you can choose how you're programming your brain and how you're rewiring that, and really how you are changing how your brain works instead of letting the subconscious mind just kind of run with it.
Okay. How did you get into that?
Well, when I started my coaching business years and years ago, I definitely got into that a little bit at that point. I was doing a lot of meditation, and that's kind of a big part of that is just really taking those quiet moments to quiet your brain. And then you can do visualization exercises where you really put yourself into that situation to the point where you're emotionally feeling that, and your brain does not know the difference between reality and fiction. Right. So if you are feeling those emotions and you're feeling that and you're putting yourself in there, your brain thinks it's really happening. So over time, you're programming it just even with meditation. So that's kind of where I started with it. And then I found out about neuro-linguistic programming. And so I started taking classes on that, and really then just kind of went down this rabbit hole. And every time I'm in my car, like you might have heard when you pulled up, I had a podcast going of like scientists talking about neuroscience.
I had a podcast going in my car too, so I probably didn't hear anything.
But like, it's just, it's fascinating, and I've used it personally so much because I've dealt with a lot over my life. I've been through a lot of trauma, a lot of loss, a lot of grief. I'm still going through some stuff right now. And with that, I see the personal like growth that I have, and I see how I can change how I react to situations instead of like going into the victim mode or why did this happen to me and like how do I get past this? You can reframe things and move forward in a way that's positive. And I used to, well, first of all, I used to have a bad temper. I used to be just kind of an angry person. I grew up in the 80s, which is making you know how old I am, kind of. But there was a lot of that like mean girl stuff happening when I was a kid. And like every 80s movie you watch, like the mean girl is the cool one, right? And like
the whole hierarchy situation.
Yeah. And so I grew up kind of feeling like I had to be the mean girl to be cool, and like I remember saying horrible things to people. Like I asked one boy in elementary school, because he probably had scoliosis or something. He walked funny. And I remember saying to him, why don't you take that hanger out of your shirt before you put it on?
Oh my God.
Okay. I was in like 4th grade.
Oh God.
And I didn't come up with that. I probably heard that on a movie. But the bottom line is like, I just did not like who I was. And I knew as I got into an adulthood, I needed to kind of change what I had learned. And so I really started, I think, back then just with a lot of introspection and just kind of saying like, why do I act like that? And how does that serve me? And like, how does that make other people feel? And then I kind of just flip-flopped and became this tree-hugging hippie that like, I just love everyone and I want everyone to be happy. And I would never in a million years say anything horrible like that again. And now that I'm older, I've experienced loss with my mom. My dad is going through some major health issues right now. He had a terrible stroke in December, and like life has never been the same.
Right.
And I'm a business owner, so I'm dealing with like pressures from all of that. And I'm an actor, which is also very hard. And so I use all of that I teach other people in my own daily life, and I see it working. And I see it working with myself. And I catch myself, it's funny now, because I catch myself doing the right thing with my thinking instead of the wrong thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm reframing that thought. Good for me. Like,
Yay.
And the world is ugly right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed.
A little bit.
But, and I just really feel like people could use this stuff so much. And it's like, it's evolving us. Like you can evolve your brain to be more understanding and to be happier and to just be more accepting of other people's faults, because really like what other people are doing has nothing to do with you. Like
Absolutely.
It's nothing. So I don't even know if I answered your question. I just went on a tangent.
No,
There you go.
absolutely. Yeah. Wow. Okay. Do you have anything?
I mean, I am so excited to hear like what the steps are in order to start thinking that way, because I've been suffering from just like, I suffer with bipolar, and like basically all the thoughts that I have 2 separate sides of my brain. One side is like, everybody hates you, you're doing everything wrong all the time, don't even get up, don't even drink water, like why are you even alive? And then the other side is like, you're the best person in the world, everybody loves you, you're doing everything right. And so like they both are happening at the same time. And like I know that I need to focus on like meditating and quieting my brain so that I can start like understanding what the thoughts, who I am besides those thoughts, and like go forward from there. But when I try meditation and stuff, I'm so impatient that I just can't sit and do it. So I'm excited to hear like how you're coaching people and like how you're getting to yourself, like starting to do the right thoughts. And
So the first thing to keep in mind is meditation is hard for everyone. And I don't know if you guys have ADHD, but I do. And So
I was diagnosed very late with it.
Yeah, me too.
But yeah, I just learned the differences with like adult ADHD versus kid ADHD, because I was like, why the fuck did I not get diagnosed when I was younger? But I was like, oh, I didn't show the typical signs until later on when they're actually developing more knowledge into what ADHD actually is. And I'm like, oh wow, okay.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And when I was a kid, it was like that wasn't even a thing. They're
Right.
like, just be quiet.
Well, especially like, and I don't mean this in like a sexist way, but they don't typically look at women, or especially like young women, as ADHD people. The statistics show that it's primarily a male thing. It's not as it's not to say that women don't have it, but because of how naturally rambunctious they are and how all that is, it's primarily looked at as a male-dominated type of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So with meditation, it isn't a magic thing where you do it once or twice and then you feel better all the time.
Right.
It's literally you're filling up your cup, and then throughout your day, your cup is emptying again. And so, I mean, a lot of people actually recommend meditating multiple times during the day, even if it's just like 2 minutes, just to silence everything, calm down, kind of reframe your thoughts of like, why am I thinking this way? And I'll go into that in a minute, but meditation is one of those processes, though, of reframing your thoughts and rewiring your brain. So if for like someone like you who is having all of those negative, limiting beliefs, the negative self-talk, you have to catch those. So there's a exercise that I do that is name it, claim it, reframe it is kind of what we call it. So basically, as soon as you start having one of those thoughts, like, for example, like something goes wrong, and how many times have we all done this where we're just like, oh my God, I'm so stupid, right? Like you just say that. Over time, that repetition causes you to develop new neural pathways in your brain that your brain's like, yes, we are so stupid.
Right.
Because I made a mistake and now I'm stupid. And every time you make a little mistake, which we all make mistakes, we're human, but because you have developed that pathway, your brain automatically goes, yes, you're stupid, because we have the proof to say that. So what you have to do is you name it. You say, okay, I made a mistake. I'm human. Then you claim it and you say, okay, I made a mistake. I didn't do what I needed to do here, but now I'm going to reframe it into something else and say, I made this mistake because I'm learning how to do this better, and now I know what's going to work for me the next time.
Right.
Or what not to do the next time. And it's something as simple as that on repetition that helps to build up your confidence, because that's the thing, is like confidence is not something we're born with. It's a strategy. It's something you are building into your mind with consistency. So anytime you're having one of those negative thoughts, you ask yourself, why am I having this thought? And there's another exercise too, where you can actually say, why am I having this? And is it the truth? And 99.9% of the time, it's not going to be the truth. So then you have to reframe it and say it again in a different way. So, I don't deserve to even get out of bed today. Well, is that true? No. Obviously, that's not true. Everyone deserves to get out of bed. This is just something that my brain is telling me, often out of fear.
Right.
Fear comes from, something we have done in the past. Our emotions kind of create our reality. And then you turn it into something else. Like, well, I'm having a rough day, but I'm going to get out of bed today because I know I'll feel better when I do.
Right.
And like, it sounds so simple, but it's these simple little things that you have to do consistently that change how your brain really works. And there's a thing called Hebb's theory, which basically says you have a choice. Like, so we have a thing in our brain called the amygdala, which is what is responsible for fight or flight. And your brain responds always with fear before logic. Before your prefrontal cortex is like triggered, fear is triggered first, like within milliseconds. So our brains are wired to keep us safe. That's like the programming we have now is the same program we had when we were cave people outrunning tigers and everything. We get the same reaction when somebody sends us an email at work that we don't like. Anything that elicits that fear, that trigger in our mind, our brain processes that the same. So everything we're doing, our brain is not wired for keeping us successful. It's not wired for making us happy. It's wired for keeping us safe.
Right.
So Hebb's theory is that you do something over and over, and you maybe have heard the term what fires together, wires together. Basically, it just means these consistent thoughts over and over create the path. And if you look at it like if you're going hiking, okay, you come across a fork in the road or a fork in the path. And one of them you've gone on a lot. So it's like it's a loop. You know where it goes, you know it comes back, you know where it goes back to.
Right.
And then the other one, though, is this new path that you've never gone on, but you know that there's a beautiful lake at the end of this. And you're like, God, I want to get to that lake. But this path is really filled with branches and trees, and I'd have to really work to get through it. But if over time, so your brain is going to tell you to go to the easy path, right? Like, no, stay safe. You know what to expect. But if something you really want, over time, you start taking that path. And each time you take it, you're knocking down the branches. You're pushing down the grass. You're making the path more clear. And at the same time, that other path that you used to take is growing up. And so it's getting almost more like non-existent. It's still there, but it's just like you're not really seeing it anymore. So same thing with your brain. You wire it, you say, okay, consistently, I'm going to, every time I do something that I'm proud of, I'm going to write it in a book, and then I can revisit that. And every time I have a negative thought about myself, I'm going to reframe it, and I'm going to say something good about myself, or I'm going to tell myself why that isn't the truth and reframe what it's going to do for me instead. And over time, you get that clear path, and the negative path over here is really not even a path anymore.
How long do you think, I know it's different for everyone, but how long do you think it takes to consistently get to that point?
Sorry to interrupt this amazing therapy session. I just had a quick little thing to say. First, we wanted to say thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has honestly become such a huge passion for us, and we are so thankful to have each and every one of you guys tune in, and we love the effect that we see that it has on everyone. Second, we wanted to make sure that you guys knew where to find us. So we have our episodes on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple. So if you want to see all the video stuff, go check it out on YouTube. If you are a little bit more of just a audio listener, go check it out on Spotify and Apple. Otherwise, also follow the Instagram account. On there, we post a bunch of different short reels and stuff of the episodes, as well as different updates. And if you guys have anything specific you guys want us to go ahead and cover or talk about, DM us on there. We always look at the DMs and the comments that we get. So otherwise, thank you guys again so much. Now back to the episode.
Do the last part, and thank you all so much. Now back to the episode.
Should I just do the whole thing or just that?
No, just that part.
Thank you guys again so much for all of your guys' support. Now back to the session.
I would say it's a never-ending thing, because every day we're faced with obstacles in our life. It's not like you get to this point where you're like, I can reframe my thoughts and now nothing's going to get to me, because things will get to you. We have these issues in our life that we have to deal with, and it's more about how you react when those happen than thinking everything's going to be perfect all the time. So I do think it's really different for everybody on how quickly you would see results. But really, it can happen in a matter of days if you start just really being consistent with it. Get up in the morning, and mantras and affirmations, those are real things because it's repetitive words that you're saying to yourself. And if you can do it with emotion, even something as simple as good things are coming to me today. and just like smile and feel gratitude and feel happy, like, and repeat that every day, your brain starts to identify that as a truth.
Right.
And so I don't think there's any like clear-cut answer on how soon, but really naturally it's going to make you feel better very quickly because you're not going to just be constantly horrible to yourself.
Mm-hmm. For me, when I'm having those negative thoughts, I'm like, I know that they're not true and I know I need to do the opposite, but I just can't get myself to move from that negativity.
Yeah.
Like I just can't do it.
What blocks you, do you think? Like, what,
I don't know.
like, is it words you think that block you, or is it a feeling? Like, when you try to, I guess, name it, like, what's the thing that's blocking you in that? Like, if you were to go back to that moment right now of, you know what you're supposed to do, but there's something blocking you. Because I know, like, when I'm getting up in the morning, it's so hard for me to get out of that bed. But I know it's because of the fact that I'm just too tired. I know if I just go outside and look at the sky, I'm going to feel that jolt of energy. But there's that seductive voice in my head that's like, you're so comfy and warm right now. You're so, like, those specific obstacles.
I would say it's just like the feeling of like why do it?
Okay, so you're just missing kind of your why then.
I have a really big purpose in my life.
Well, yeah,
like,
but
I have so much to do in my life. That's what's so frustrating is like, I have a purpose, I have a why, but I just don't care half the time.
I think, because I had that issue too, and I think there's a difference between just generalized knowing your why and seeing your why. I wrote on my whiteboard, which, like, when I go live on TikTok, I have so many people that are commenting on it because I have one of my mirrors, I use them as whiteboards. One of my mirrors has my daily non-negotiables. So it's all the stuff I have to get done in the morning it's like my morning routine. And I realized I needed that to build a foundation for myself to grow off of. I can't just get up and start my day. I need a way to be able to naturally get my brain going, get the certain stuff going. I start incorporating things like meditation and journaling and doing experiments within that to kind of change those things. But on the other side is literally it says why. And on there it just lists like all the reasons of like, because I think it's a natural thing. We're dopamine chasers naturally. We just want to chase what feels good because our brain, like you said, our brain doesn't see that end goal that you were talking about. Our brain only sees the loop route. It doesn't see, like, it can't see past the trees, the brush, the grass.
Yeah, exactly.
It only sees what's in front of it. Yeah. We want to believe that it's out there, but we don't actually see it. So it's hard for us to actually believe it. We know we have our why. We have the imaginary, like, oh, I can just visualize it over there. I don't see it. So your brain is like, I don't know, bro. Like, I'm looking over there. There's nothing but trees and brush and grass and stuff over there. So are you sure? Obviously, we have our why, but like giving myself that visualization of like my family, my future self, being able to do this, being able to do that gives me like a specific things to be able to visualize of like, here's my why. If like, oh, I just really don't want to. I just look over to my left. I see that mirror and I'm like, all right, no, I see it. Okay. Yeah. So I think it's like, it's a difference between this, like, I know what my why is versus like, I've been taught when you're visualizing and goal seeking, specificity is the most important thing. Not just you want to be a successful filmmaker, but like, what are the specific things I want to get recognized for this movie? I want to, like, instead of just like broadly, I want to make $1 million or I want to be rich. It's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to write a check for $10,946 for one day.
I think what's so frustrating with me is like, I have like been successful in my life. And so I know like what it looks like to get there and what to do to get there. But for some reason, so like when I have my next goal, I know exactly what I need to do to get there. And I like know that it exists and I know I can be there, and visualizing it is totally fine. I'm super specific on what I need to do. Okay. It's not just like I'm going to work on a Marvel movie one day. It's like, no, I have to join the union. I have to talk to these people. I have to move to this place. You know what I mean? But there's just like something that's like not connecting in my brain. Like I literally sit down and I visualize it and I'm like, okay, get up right now. You'll get in the sun. You'll feel better. Everything's going to be great. And then there's literally just like a disconnect in my brain that won't let me do it. I'm like, I am going to be better. I know what to do. And then I just don't do it. I don't know I don't know how to get it to go away.
I think with something like that, you really have to almost not give yourself the option to not do it.
Yeah.
Like, it's not about the visualization or the why. It's about giving yourself the out. And, just like with working out, same thing. Like, no, not very many of us love just going to the gym every day. And if we can find an excuse not to go, we'll take that excuse.
Absolutely.
Right.
So similar with that, like, again, it's your brain keeping you safe. It's like, well, it doesn't feel good to get out of bed. We don't like this. You're stretching us. There's something that we don't want to do. So instead, I'm going to tell you all the reasons why you should stay in bed. And there's a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. Basically is our brain's filter. And it focuses on what we want, what is important to us right then. So there's a thing called the red car theory, which basically, have you heard of it?
I've mentioned it on here a few times.
Okay. So same thing. Like if you're in bed, your brain, if you're wanting to stay in bed, that RAS is going to keep you in bed because it's going to say all the reasons why you should stay in bed.
Right.
And it's going to say this is all the right answers here because the other thing is what we don't want. And so we're not going to give you any reason to think about what you don't want.
Right. We're
going to give you all the proof of why you should stay here. And again, it comes down to taking charge of your subconscious and saying, no, I know I feel better when I get out of bed. And it's probably a matter of consistently telling yourself that every morning, like, I feel better when I get out of bed. I feel better when I get out of bed. And so at some point, you're going to get to the point where you wake up and you're like, I feel better when I get out of bed.
Yeah.
And with like NLP, there's anchoring too. And it's probably way too much to get into today. But even changing your body posture, like if you get yourself to sit up and sit up straight, you've heard of that like Superman pose, where they say if you pose like Superman, you feel more confident when you go into a meeting. But the science behind that is that it actually releases hormones like testosterone, which helps boost confidence.
Right.
So your brain and your body are always connected, and it's a constant loop. So even if you could swing your legs over the bed and just sit up straight and, take a deep breath and feel very like good posture and say, I know I feel good when I get out of bed, and just do that every single day, you're creating one of those new pathways.
Cool.
I think one of the things that helped me, because I have like getting up in the morning was one of the hardest things for me to do. But then there was a book I read, Atomic Habits, which involves habit stacking. And it's not, I feel like when people are looking at habit stacking and stuff, they look too much at the macro. They look at like, oh, I'm going to be the next David Goggins and go wake up, or Joe Rogan and hit the ice plunge for an hour and then go do this and that. And you're like, it just intimidates you, especially for someone who isn't used to that much work. Right. Versus like me, I had to figure out like, okay, I need to feed into some dopamine in the morning. So, but I need to do different things. So, okay, what kind of things do I do right now? First thing I do is I go on my phone. Okay, well, maybe I should put my phone on the other side of the room to where I'm not doing that. I put my alarm clock on the other side of the room. So it forces me, no matter what, I have to get out of bed to turn that thing off. I can't just like turn it off. So it forces me to at least get out of the bed. Am I perfect at it every single day? No. But that's where the other thing with, I have progress over perfection. And that's the thing that's written on my thing. So it's like, because I have a really bad thing with self-talk for myself. I've always been my own worst critic. That's never been a question. But with being my own worst critic, that means that like if I don't hit that perfection mark in my head, I've failed everything. What's the point now? I'm not doing anything good. Okay, cool. Well, I missed one mark, so now everything else is just doomed and I'm just screwed, kind of thing. But that's why it's like, okay, well, I'm over here, and then luckily, like, I have a dog, so she'll be like, hey, I gotta pee, bro. Like, let's go. Take her out. Okay, cool. And then on the way back, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna put on a pot of coffee real quick. Get a little bit of dopamine going. I need to get like that, and then starting to like, okay, well, what kind of things can I do now that's not going to damage anything, like be too overstimulating, stuff that's just like taking care of the brain. Not like, I don't exercise first thing in the morning. I hate morning workouts.
Yeah.
People
Me
do
too.
it all the time. I'll incorporate maybe yoga or some stretching or something, stuff that feels good. But like working out and stuff, I'm like, nah, I'm sorry. My body is just like, bro, chill, okay? We just woke up. Like the bones are still a little creaky. We got to oil things up a little bit before we go all out. And I'm not perfect at it either, but it's also, I think, one of the things I realized, because I grew up in that grind set mentality. I grew up in that whole thing with like all these huge people that are like, oh, if you're not doing this, then you're a piece of shit type of thing. And I was like, how do I stay, like, how are these guys so motivated? How are these guys doing it so much? And then there was one guy that's like, oh, motivation has nothing to do with it. Motivation is the most bullshit term in the world. There's no such thing as working off motivation. And that's where I learned about discipline and learning about that rather than just like, because the amount of times like I never want to hit that cold plunge. I don't remember a single day in my life that I look at that cold plunge like, this is going to be so fun.
No.
Yeah.
There's never a single day to where I wake up at 5:30 and I'm like, I so want to wake up right now. I don't want to lay in this nice, cozy, warm bed or anything like that. But it's like you said, giving yourself that non-negotiable of, you know what? I could do hard shit. Fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it. And kind of like doing that. So that's just like what I've kind of learned. I'm, like I said, I'm nowhere near perfect with it. I'll hit like a 5-day streak with it. Like, hell yeah. But then I'll be like, all right, I'll give myself a little bit of a break. And then everything goes downhill from there.
Well, and I'm definitely like, I mean, I'm able to talk on it, but I definitely have bad days too. Where
Everyone
it's
does.
like, it's not like this is this magic answer. And once I figured it out, I'm never depressed or sad or anything.
Right.
Like, I mean, I have low days for sure. And it's how long you let yourself stay in that period, I think is the difference now, because we're going to go through shit and it's going to hit you. And sometimes there's no reframing it when you're in the moment, you know, you have to let yourself experience it, but then it's how long do you react? How long do you stay in that mindset instead of saying, okay, this happened, you know, this actually helped me, you know, get to this point or whatever. And what you said about, I don't know if you called it confidence stacking, but like
Habit stacking.
So I do confidence stacking too, where it's like, it doesn't have to be big things. Like it can be something as simple as I got out of bed with only hitting my sleep timer twice, you know, like I did better today than I did yesterday. And a lot of the things I teach clients is to do a gratitude journal, but not just stop at gratitude, but say, here are 3 things I really did well today. Like, I'm proud of myself for this today. And it doesn't have to be anything big. Like, all of those little things add up to one big thing in your brain.
It's so funny that you're mentioning this, because this is literally, I've naturally just gotten into like a reprogramming of like, I used to go in my journal and write just about bullshit, just like brain dump and stuff, which was good. It was nice to like be able to brain dump, but I was like, there's a quote, I don't know if I heard it somewhere, came up with it or whatever, but it was, fruit can only grow from fertile soil. And I've damaged my soil so much growing up. With all the trauma that I've gone through, with all the self-talk, like I've never talked to myself in a loving way. I've kind of like, oh yeah, you're a pretty cool guy, but then it's also like, why aren't you doing this? Why this other guy's better than you? This other guy's more good looking. You're like just constant negative self-talk. And there was a point that I was like, I do that because it helps motivate me. But I was like, no, it's not motivating me. There's no building off of it. That's not where I should be. Like, you can technically grow a tomato in freaking sewer. Like, it's not good. It doesn't mean it's going to be a good tomato, but it'll still be a tomato. But in my journal, I started with, I'm like at least 6-7 sentences of what I'm thankful for, even if it's the same thing. Because I've noticed that like routine is better than nothing. Even if it's just like the same thing. I try to make it different things, but I'll try to do that. But then I started after that, instead of just ending it there, I started doing I'm proud of you sentences, saying like I'm proud of this for myself. I'm proud of that. Really kind of trying to reframe my brain of like, you know what? No, I've done good shit. I deserve to look at myself and understand what I'm doing good. And I've noticed just like such a different type of outlook afterwards. Like the feeling that I get after writing those sentences, I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Okay.
Well, and they have said that you cannot feel the feelings of anxiety or depression at the same time as gratitude. Mm-hmm. So if you are putting yourself into a consistent mindset of gratitude, you're literally kind of like blocking the circuit of depression or anxiety at that moment. And of course, it's not like all day, every day, but the more you can put yourself into that zone of gratitude and thankfulness and being proud of yourself, then again, you're rewiring, and that becomes the more normal feeling for yourself. Whereas the anxiety, the depression, the negative stuff becomes more of the fear that you don't want to feel anymore. It's almost like you flop it on your brain. But with the negative self-talk, I mean, I've always been really bad about that too. And the one thing that I really started to think about is, well, I used to say, talk to yourself how you would your best friend. But then every guy I ever talked to was like, I'd say the same shit to my best friend as I said. Yeah. So I changed it to be, talk to yourself.
What I say to my guy best friend.
Yeah. I was like, okay, maybe not guys, but talk to yourself the way you would a child that you love. Because not a child on the street, but we had to get really specific. But like a 5-year-old child that you really care about. Like, you would never look at that little kid and go, God, you look ugly today. Or no, you could never do that. You're not good enough. Like, you would never say those things. And that is all a learned behavior. That is something that is put into us either from our parents or like society and just everything that we've picked up on over the years. Because you're not born thinking that way. Right. A little kid doesn't walk around in this diaper going, man, my butt looks too big in this outfit. You know, like these are things that we've learned. And so now we have to unlearn them. Mm-hmm. And, we're taught as a society too, like, don't be cocky, don't be arrogant, don't be proud of yourself. And it's like, what the hell? Like, if I'm not proud of myself, who will be? Right. So it's like, be full of yourself. I mean, be loving. Don't be like, I'm better than all of you. But, like, brag about yourself. Don't worry about coming off too proud, because we should all be so proud, and we're just not. It's ridiculous when you think about that. Like,
well, it's that confusing line between humility and cockiness, like you said. Like, people don't typically know the difference between confidence and cockiness. Yeah. They're like, oh, he's so confident. It's like, no, okay. Well, what's the difference between then self-arrogance and being confident? What's the difference then in being proud of yourself and then being humble? Like where do those lines exist in that sense, I think
a lot of the people that project that cockiness, it's not actually confidence, it's probably lack of confidence. Mm-hmm. And they're trying to make, it's like, that fear coming through, a fear of judgment and fear of failure. They're trying to overcompensate to trick their brains into feeling that way, but they really don't. So they're projecting that. And it's, your energy is pretty readable for most people. We can kind of pick up on if you're being authentic and if you're being real, or if you're just like, I don't like the way you're acting right now. Why are you like so big-headed kind of thing? But at the same time, like, who cares? Like, if they're proud of themselves and they're putting that out there, like, who are we to decide that that's not okay? And that's the thing, is like, that they can go and be cocky and arrogant. Good for them. Maybe at some point that will lead to real confidence for them and get them to where they need to be.
So with using NLP then, for someone that has never learned necessarily what confidence looks like, who has never learned how to be confident, who has kind of always had that mentality of negative self-talk, comparing themselves to others, that kind of stuff, how would someone use something like NLP to be able to gain confidence? Because like you said, it's not something you're born with, it's something that you're taught. And people might look at me and be like, oh, he's so confident. I'm like, no, I'm the most insecure motherfucker around. I'm just an actor, so I know how to portray something good. But how does someone be able to internally, well, sorry, I just spit it hardcore. Internally actually be able to feel that confidence and be able to use NLP to change that in themselves?
So it's, again, coming down to the catching it and reframing it over and over and over and over again. There's a lot of methods in NLP. One of them that's like a pretty well-known method is called the swish method. And it's not something you can learn on your own. You have to work with like a coach or somebody that does NLP. But basically, you are disassociating from that feeling and then associating into the one you want to feel. So if you are, and it takes time and it's kind of a repetition thing that you do over and over and over, but you really are visualizing yourself and feeling yourself, putting yourself into the situation of like a time when you felt very low in your confidence. You felt embarrassed, like you put yourself into that negative situation, and then you watch yourself in the exact opposite. And the exact opposite doesn't necessarily mean I want to go from lack of confidence to confident. It's more of I want to be bold and happy. And when I walk into a room, I feel so excited to speak to everybody. Like, it has to be really specific of like what you're really going for, because just saying I want to be more confident we understand what that is, but it's hard to visualize more confidence. So
how do you reframe your brain though to be able to walk in and have those feelings or have those thoughts instead of everyone's judging me, everyone, like if I do this, like I have to act perfect. Like is there a way to naturally kind of gear more into those positive thoughts?
Well, with this swish method, it kind of teaches you to, every time you start having the lack thoughts, to be able to, and it's a literal like swish. Like, so when you're training somebody with this, you actually throw the positive vision of yourself, where you're associated into the good vision of yourself. You visualize yourself throwing that as like a screen of a TV, and it comes back around like a boomerang and it explodes the negative one, and you watch it kind of explode, and then the whatever you are going after, the confidence, whatever, becomes your reality, and you're in that reality. And you do that over and over. And what it does is it teaches your brain that when you start really in life experiencing that, you are able to kind of go whoop, and it flips around and takes you into that reality that you created with that method. It takes time though. And it takes you'll do it with a client like 4 or 5 times just in one setting. And it takes over a period of time. For someone that's not doing that particular method, you could also do a lot of, visualization and running through the scenarios over and over. Like, so say you have networking events, and every time you go into a networking event, you're so unconfident and you hate talking to people, but you want to pretend like you are, and you want to pretend like you're doing a great job. So you actually walk yourself through it. You kind of do it in a meditation state too, so that you can really sit down and feel the feelings, hear the sounds, everything. Take yourself into that moment completely. Right. And you walk yourself through it, and you say, okay, here's what's going to happen, and here's how I'm going to...
Jesus Christ.
Trash can.
That's loud.
Here's how I'm going to act in that moment. And here's how I'm going to respond in these different situations. So going in how you want to be, and how it feels. And you do that over and over. And after a while, it becomes more of like the reality than when you go in there and you're just like, I'm in here and I don't know what I'm going to say, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And people will use that a lot for like business meetings too. When you have to do a presentation and you say, okay, I'm going to just visualize, or even athletes, like they do it. How many times do you hear athletes, I visualize the game before I go in? It's the same thing. It's building up that confidence because you're seeing yourself do it. You're kind of actively living it without going into the situation. And over time, your brain's like, okay, we did that. Okay, we did that. Okay, we did that. And then you're building confidence each time. It's just crazy to think that like just the act of repeating these things, and you do have to have that buy-in. You have to have that emotional buy-in. You have to really like feel like you're in that situation. You can't just be like, okay, I'm going into a room and I'm going to be confident, because like you have to make your brain think it's reality. But doing that over time really does build that confidence, and your brain starts to believe, oh, we're confident. Oh, we think we're awesome, Yeah. And so it's repetition.
That's happened to me because I've had to speak in front of crowds a lot in the last 3 years. And I am not someone that likes to talk in front of crowds. And the first couple of times I was just so frozen and I didn't know what to say. And it was kind of embarrassing. And I got through it because I had to. But now when I go in front of people, I'm just like, yeah, this is me. Yeah. And I just speak totally normally. And this podcast helps too. Just learning how to speak just without pauses and just confidently. And so it's really easy for me to do now, which the last time I was in front of a crowd, I was kind of shocked at how good I was at it. Because I was still kind of scared, but I was like, I've done this 17 times now,
Yeah.
Well, I think people underestimate the power of practice.
Yeah.
I mean, this isn't my first experience with doing a podcast. The reason why we were able to start so strong out the gate is because I've been doing this already for 1.5 years, 2 years by myself.
Right.
Putting those reps in. It's not just someone put a microphone in front of my face and then boom. Yes, I'm naturally a talkative person, but there's a certain art to doing different things. I had to get all of my bullshit out of the way with the previous podcast I had with okay, how do I do this? And tried to do, I had 50, 60, 70 episodes of 2 hour long conversations. The first couple were the most atrocious thing I've ever seen. But then after that, and then it's also I obsess over all of it. I listen to almost podcasts more than I do music now because I want to be able to understand the questions that they're asking, kind of see the little isms and stuff that happen. It's not just I'm just going to start a podcast. Cool, boom. And then, or public speaking. I don't like public speaking either, but I know I can do it. If it needs to happen, I know I can do it. I know that once I'm in the flow of it, everything's fine. It's just that initial oh wow, everyone has their eyes on me. Now it's all the pressure's on me. But then after that, I'm also thinking after this, no one's gonna really remember a lot. They might remember what I was talking about, but they're not gonna remember how many times my hands were in my pocket. They're not gonna remember this. As long as I'm kind of keeping aware of it myself, the things that they might remember. Everyone makes mistakes though.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as perfection. The amount of times I've seen professional people doing professional actors. That I've heard so many people that go into acting. They're oh, I don't know how you do that. I can't. I'm this took us 40 takes to do.
Yeah.
It's not something that's just gonna happen like that.
Yeah.
Or I couldn't remember how to say this line. Even the top of the top of the top.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. Just being able to accept the fact that hey, I'm gonna make mistakes here and there. Oh well. That's just kind of how it happens.
But that's how you build the confidence right there. It's doing the hard things, getting through it, and showing yourself you did it and you could do it again.
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over.
Well, there's no such thing, I don't think, as an overnight success.
No.
A lot of times when you see the overnight success, it's I'm a 20-year overnight success.
Yeah.
You see all the work that has been done for this, the company that I started. Yes, I ended with throwing very, very large scale events. But the first couple that we threw, there's maybe 2 people that went.
Yeah.
I wasn't selling anything, but it was just obsessing. Mr. Beast, he didn't become the biggest YouTuber in the world off of one video. He's I don't think that you can do anything until you post at least 100 videos. Once you kind of get that, we have another client that started doing that. I was very clear. I'm the first couple that we're going to do are probably going to be trash because we have to be able to get into a flow. We have to sharpen the knife a little bit, kind of get into that until finally it's okay, well, and then continuously experiment, continuously see what's working and stuff. But unfortunately with social media and stuff, we don't see that line of progression. We see that one video that took off and it's oh, okay, cool. So the first song they released, they're a Grammy nominated artist. Well, they've also been writing songs though for 20 years. They've been practicing this. They might not have gotten signed until this, but they're not just releasing. Obviously, it does happen. People do hit the lottery with some of it. But more often than not, you talk to them oh, no, I've actually been doing music for a long, long time.
Right.
It's just took until now to get recognized or for this kind of success to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of want to see, you mentioned that using NLP has helped personally you with trauma and stuff. How has it helped? What kind of trauma did it help with? Because I'm not currently in therapy, but I do therapy, and there's so many different kinds of therapy and stuff that people go through. There's EMDR, cognitive Like there's so many different types.
Yeah.
And like I talked to someone on my previous podcast who did NLP as well. So I got to learn a little bit about it, but I always like to figure out new tools and stuff that people can learn that have gone through trauma and stuff that maybe like this method might not help you, but try this.
Right. Well, first I want to be very clear that NLP and all of these things are not a replacement for therapy. If you have a medical diagnosis, you really need to be working with a medical practitioner. These are things that can help after you've kind of dealt with that, or maybe you're doing it simultaneously, but you can't really, like if there's something really from your past that's really still causing a lot of emotional problems with you, then it's probably like you need to go to the therapy route first and then use these tools kind of to help you as you move forward. Because with coaching especially, it meets you where you are now and gets you to where you want to be. It doesn't really address the past. So it's good for, like NLP is good for dealing with current things that are coming up in your life, not necessarily delving into childhood traumas, those kinds of things. Like that's not really recommended. Some people might do it, but everything I've learned is like, don't cross those boundaries, because that can get into a place where it's maybe bringing up more trauma than, helping it. For me, like the most recent thing I've gone through, and I kind of mentioned it, my dad, and I'll try not to cry because I'm a crier.
Cry all you want. That's what we're here for.
My dad had a stroke on December 18th. And before that, he was living by himself still. We found out later he had had some mini strokes at least before, and we didn't know. But he was still living at home, cooking, going to the store, driving a truck, doing everything. December 18th, he called me and he couldn't stand up. And I spent hours with him trying to pull my 6'4" dad out of a chair. Ended up calling an ambulance, and he was actually also having heart failure, and his heart rate was down to 27, which it's not supposed to dip beyond like 65. So he went to the hospital, and they figured out he had a major stroke, and my dad never went home. We ended up having to sell everything he owns, get rid of his house, get rid of his truck, everything. He lost the ability to walk or stand, and now has developed vascular dementia from the strokes. So he's declining very quickly cognitively. He lives in this world of, it's very strange. And that's another reason I'm so into neuroscience now is watching how his brain works.
Right.
Because he comes and goes out of like delusion and reality. Like we'll go see him. He lives in a group home now because he has to have 24-hour care. And when we're over there, he'll say, "Man, I was locked in the White House yesterday." And we're like, "Really? Tell me more." And he tells a story about how he was locked in the White House and he had to have somebody come help him. And the interesting thing is he keeps having these ideas where he was locked somewhere, like over and over. I got trapped here, I got stranded here. And he's having people, and they're these same people that are coming to rescue him every time. I don't know who these people are. I'm convinced they're like guardian angels that are kind of hanging out with him now.
Yeah.
But it really was horrible to watch him go through this, and it still is.
Yeah.
My dad was also an alcoholic and went through alcohol withdrawal in the hospital and got very violent. They called the cops on him twice. He had to be in 4-point restraints for a week before they could even do a surgery on his carotid artery to deal with the stroke. So, it was just really horrible. It was very traumatic. And then when he got released from everywhere and we put him into the group home, it seemed like he was mostly there, but he was really mean and angry and would say things to me that he never said before. And I thought he had just kind of given up. Like, I don't like the way my life is right now. And it turned out it was the dementia starting to take hold. And I didn't realize it. And it took me a while, and this is where I'm going with this, to be able to step back and really think about, like, what is going on here? And not how can I use this to my advantage, but what am I supposed to learn from this?
Yeah.
Right.
And I came away over the months afterwards with realizing that was teaching me compassion.
Yeah.
And that was teaching me to, here I go, to love someone even when they're not the person you knew.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, to love them unconditionally and realize that what's happening to them is not happening to me, and that I just need to be there as someone who can just be there.
Yeah.
Right.
And so it was kind of reframing that instead of being angry, because I started getting very angry with him. And so I had to really reframe my thoughts and be like, this is not him. This is a disease taking over.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've always had like borderline high cholesterol. And after this happened, I was like, I don't want to end up like him. I cannot do this. So I went to the doctor and I said, I want you to do a CT scan of my carotid arteries for peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
I'm a fairly healthy person. I want to just know I don't have to worry about this right now. They came back and said, actually, you do have to worry about this.
Oh, shoot.
My left carotid is 50% blocked. I now have high cholesterol. I'm having some vein issues as well. And the thing that actually occurred to me yesterday was, without that happening to my dad, I wouldn't have asked for those tests.
Yeah.
And they don't do those tests. So my dad's stroke probably saved my life.
Right.
Because now I'm going to a cardiologist. I'm on medication. I'm exercising more. I'm not eating all the delicious food.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, him going through that literally probably extended my life.
Oh, 100%.
So that's where, like, the old me, before I learned about NLP, I wouldn't have dug deep into that. I wouldn't have even thought about that. I would have just been like, my life sucks.
Right.
This happened and this happened and this happened. And instead of that, I'm saying, what can I learn from this? And how can I reshape this to be like where it serves other people too? So I don't know if that helps. But
Yeah, no, it absolutely does.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I've learned with all of this is just, and it's not like think positive, rainbows, flowers, like, because life is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't for a minute believe that we're just here to get through it. I think we are here to learn and to teach and then to enjoy it. And so these methods, it's just crazy because we all have it within our reach to like do this and to live a better life. And so many people don't know about it.
Right.
And that's kind of where I am with things. I want everyone to be happy.
I love that. You went to school for marketing and theater.
Mm.
You mentioned that there was a turning point that you had. You used to not be this kind of person that you are today. I'm curious. I gotta stop saying that. I say that every single time. Like every time I look back, I'm like, how many times do I say I'm curious?
It's okay.
I'm a curious guy.
It's okay. You're just a curious guy.
Yeah. What was that turning point, and like what happened during that to kind of make you discover NLP and kind of just turn completely, like reframe and turn you around like that?
I don't think there was one thing that happened. In my 20s, I was partying a lot. Like, I was pretty wild. I know people look at me now and they're like, no, you weren't. I was like punk rock. I was like,
really?
Yeah, I was.
Oh, wow.
You would never know. Like, but it's funny because that's kind of how it was. It was like I was living this crazy life and I was doing things that weren't healthy and I was not the best person and I was putting myself into dangerous situations. Bad relationships, abusive relationships. And then I was gifted the life of my son. I was not expecting him. My best friend said that I got pregnant because if I didn't, I was going to end up dead. And I think when you become a mom, and And again, it's like scientifically proven that like when you become a parent, when you become a mom and a dad, actually, your brain starts doing different things. It starts changing because it's not just about you anymore. It's about another life that you are responsible for, that you love more than anything. And I think it was probably at that point. God, you guys are good. That I just, I started really looking at what kind of person I was and what kind of example I was setting. It didn't happen, like he wasn't just born and I was like, I'm a brand new lady. Like it took years and I made mistakes and I am not the best parent. I mean, I think parents are still learning. Like we're children in and of itself because that's the first time we've done that or even the second time. I have 2 kids now. But I also had some bad relationships where I learned like, I don't like being talked to that way. And I don't like being treated that way and being made to feel that way. And so a lot of that kind of turned how I thought because I was like, well, I don't want to be treated that way. I don't want to be talked down to. And so I think a lot of it was just a very long path of learning of who I really want to be. Because I wasn't mean. I wasn't born mean. I wasn't a bad person. It was just that's what I thought I was supposed to be. That's what I thought. And I grew up in a house where tempers ran pretty strong. There was abuse in my house. And like I said, my dad was an alcoholic. It wasn't always pretty at my house. And so I don't think I knew how to really like be the person I wanted to be until much later in life. And then I think it was just curiousness. Like you're so curious. I got curious about mindset and just saw the world being so bad and hateful. And I didn't like that. And I started kind of being like, I don't want to be like that. I want to be the opposite of that. And learning about things that make people happier and kind of learning what could help me get through those obstacles that I face and the challenges and saying, gosh, this is really good stuff. People need to know this. And I don't know, like, it's funny because the people that meet me now would never know what I was like back then because I have really changed. And all I really want is to like own a metaphysical shop on the beach, guys. Like I just like that's my dream really is like just to like be a hippie and hang out. My husband like randomly all of a sudden now does tarot cards.
Nice.
And he was never that guy and it was really weird. Like all of these signs kept pushing him towards it. And so now he's like learned how to do tarot and he's really good at it. It's weird. If you want a tarot reading, let us know.
Yeah.
But like together too, like we've kind of grown on that path of like, we want to be hippies and be happy and we just want people to be happy. So, and that's like neuroscience backs up happiness.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think it's really cool that you guys are bringing science to like tarot cards too and stuff. Because a lot of people are like, oh, that's like hippie stuff. Like it's not real. It's, you make it up, but there's like actually you guys are backing it up with like how you can actually manifest things and like change your brain chemistry.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there is a side of like the woo side too. Don't get me wrong.
For sure. But like if there's like just woo woo and like no actual like thought process behind it, then
Yeah, and it's like, people got really big into the law of attraction and the secret and all of that. But if you really look at like what's behind all of that, again, it is rewiring your brain.
I was going to say it's the red car theory.
Yeah.
It's like once you start changing what you say, changing how you think, reframing a lot of the stuff that you are saying, you start to like the reframing is real. It's like, of course, like everyone can be all weird about like, oh, law of attraction, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, once you start on a certain thing, I've seen personally, like energy's magnetized. Yeah. And when you start being a certain type of way, you start seeing different, and I can't explain it sometimes. I'm like, I don't know how this opportunity happened. I don't know how I met this person and stuff. But I'm also like, oh, well, I've also just kind of started thinking different. I think people can pick up when you are like your attitude's different, you're feeling different. Like people can pick up so much on like cues and verbality and body language and everything like that. And once you start kind of doing that and kind of start outward, because I've seen different changes, I'm like, dude, you're vibrant today. Like, I don't know what it is about you, but like, and he's like, yeah, no, I feel like on fire. There's other days to where I'm like, I don't even want to be around you right now, man. Like, there's some darkness that's over you that's just like, it looks infectious and I do not want to be around you. So.
Right. Well, I mean, the reality is we're all energy. Like everything is energy. So if you're putting out that negative energy, you're just feeling angry and you're feeling down, that people can pick up on that. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, and there's mirror neurons too, where like if you're sitting with somebody and they scratch their nose, you're more likely to scratch your nose because like what you do, I do. And like we do reflect each other. And, you know, if you're around people doing really big things, you're more likely to do really big things. Right. But if you're hanging out with drug dealers, you're probably going to start dealing drugs too. Like, you know, all of that there's synchronicities, and then there's the things that we are quietly manifesting. Right. And it's because that's what we are focused on. And whether it's subconscious or conscious, that's kind of where you get to choose.
I want to touch a little bit on meditation because that's been a big change for me lately. And like, even as a Christian man, meditation at first was kind of like, it's kind of like a weird thing. But then they're like, well, no, Christians can meditate too. And I think that there's like this blanketed type of assumption of how to meditate, what it means to meditate. Like when people think of meditation, think of like some monk in the Himalayas that's floating 10 feet in the thing, just right. But as I've kind of dove into meditation, you get to learn there's so many different types of meditation. It's not like some people are like, oh, I suck at meditation. It's like, it's not about being good at meditation. It's literally like people are like, oh, my brain goes too crazy. I can't sit still in one thought. And it's like, that's normal though. Like, and that's one of the things, like I've tried getting you to meditate a bunch of times and I know how hard it is. I have to do it every morning and there's not a single day to where it's any easier than the previous day. It's always that same thing because my brain is going a million miles an hour. But it's the ability, like I've learned it's the ability to retract yourself back. That whole thing of like, and every meditation, because I do guided meditations. I can't meditate on my own. Yeah. I find one on YouTube and I follow that. But they're always like, it's like, don't get mad at yourself for letting your brain stray. It's going to do that. Just recognize that it happened and then ground yourself back to your breath, back to this and like being present. But it's like, I don't know.
Part of the success of meditation is getting that distraction and being able to pull yourself back. So I was meditating this morning to a YouTube video. I don't pay for YouTube Premium or whatever it is. So my meditation got interrupted 3 times with a stupid ad. Oh, no. And every time I was like, no. And like, I had to like stop and go back. But I just stopped the ad, went right back into it and continued. And some days like that can be frustrating because you could be like, oh, I felt like I was right on the breakthrough of something. You know, I was really getting somewhere and I got interrupted. But they really do say that part of the success is being able to be interrupted, have those thoughts, whatever it may be, and pulling yourself back in because that shows you over and over, I'm doing it. Right. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. And meditation does get easier with practice. Yeah. But if you're like us who have ADHD and your brain is like a million miles a minute, as soon as I stop and I like sit down and I start doing it, I'm like, what emails do I have to send today? Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I need to remember to do this. And every time I'm like, no, you're meditating. And so I do things where I kind of, I do the guided most of the time too, because I need that that interaction so that I can try to focus on something. But even that sometimes is hard. So what I will do is if they're talking, I literally try to visualize their words. Yeah. Like I will do something just so that I'm hyper focused on the meditation. And I have found if I can do that for about 5 minutes, my brain starts to slow. And then I can be like, okay, now I'm going to focus on my breath. Now I can start to visualize what they're saying. And like, it just, I think, takes me a little longer to get into that than maybe other people. And that might be kind of what others deal with too. But there's walking meditation. Like there's all sorts of meditations that you don't just have to be in the zone, that it's not about, my husband gets caught up in this too, is like, he thinks every meditation has to be better than the last one.
Right.
And it's not about that. Like a lot of times it's just about slowing down and taking that moment for yourself, because you're also slowing down your central nervous system. You're allowing your body to not feel stress for 5 minutes. And it's like, that's a benefit. It's not just about going to the quantum level of whatever-ness, it's just giving yourself that time. And even if you get interrupted and your brain goes a million miles a minute, you can say, well, I sat down and I gave myself that 10 minutes. Even if it's
like 10 seconds.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to mention there's different kinds of meditation. It's not just like one certain time.
Mm-hmm.
I've done anything from transcendent, whatever that word is, mantra. Currently right now I'm doing a lot more like manifestation meditation, to where you kind of just sit there and just visualize where you want to go in as much detail as possible. Not just like, oh, I see stacks of cash and all that kind of stuff, but like the one that I've been listening to it for the past like 2 weeks, and I love it because it's just like, it gives me something to do in it, which sounds weird, but like instead of just sitting there trying to focus on the breath going in and out, it gives me a story almost to focus on. It gives me like, okay, well, I can visualize a ring around my finger. I can see my wife in the kitchen making coffee and stuff. I can see my kids running around. I can see pulling up our YouTube channel and seeing millions of subscribers. I can see being on the Oscar stage, winning like I can see like all that.
I've been there too.
Yeah. But like, not even just like from an outside perspective, but like, and the ones that I've been listening to, it's like, what are you feeling in that moment?
Yeah.
What are the emotions happening? What are you smelling? What is like really kind of doing? Because like you said, your brain doesn't always know the difference between what's reality and what's not reality. So if you put yourself in that reality, I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, let's go. Like, oh, hey, babe, how'd you sleep last night? Oh, good, yeah. And, oh, hey, don't get into that over there. Or, oh, let's go on, like, visualizing this vacation that we're about to take. Or visualizing, oh, I have a meeting with this guy today, and I get to meet this, and then we have this movie in production, and, like, all this. And it's like, I've turned, like, those 10 minutes of my morning to some of the most fun 10 minutes of my entire day, because I just get to visualize. It's incredible. I get to escape this house that I live in or whatever, and I just get to visualize myself just living this like lifestyle that I'm like, and then I wake up, I'm like, let's go.
Okay. and you feel it. So you're in that moment, you're in that like state of gratitude and happiness. And so that's such a huge part of meditation that helps to rewire the brain, because you're feeling that, you're showing your brain this reality over and over, and then it comes back to the reticular activating system, which is, I'm now knowing that this is possible, so I'm going to start showing you opportunities to make that happen. And that's where manifestation comes in. And like, I do the same thing. I do a lot of those manifestation, and I had one the other day where it was kind of like a gratitude manifestation. So it was like seeing yourself in the future in that life that you want and all of the things, and feeling how grateful you are when you're there. And I had tears streaming down my face. Like, I was still meditating, closed eyes, but I mean, not woke up, but I came out of it and I was just like, whoa, that was powerful, because I got so into it and felt the gratitude and the happiness that I'm gonna have when I'm in that new, place, that my brain like was feeling everything completely realistic. And you do that enough times, your brain's like, that's real. Like, that's real to me now. And so not only can you start feeling those feelings of gratitude for what you have right now, but it also opens up the opportunities to make sure you're on the right track to get those other things.
I always just encourage people to experiment with it. It's not a one size fits all thing. I've had to go through like 20 different types of meditation, and a lot of times I don't stick to the same meditation. Sometimes I'm like, I'm feeling stressed, so I'm going to do meditation specifically for stress, or specifically for relaxation, or specifically for being present. Like, I will switch around meditations, like, and I need to. That's part of my ADHD, is I can't do the exact same thing every single time. Whether it's the same type of meditation, just said by someone different or whatever. Like there's just an experimental thing with it. Journaling. I don't usually journal the exact same thing every day. I do different kinds of things. Oh, what should I journal about today? And try to like get that a little bit of different kind of thing. Like keep on the routine,
Right.
but do it in kind of a different way to where I'm not like, oh, okay, another thing of this. I'm like, no, let's do that. Or like maybe I visualize something different. Like, okay, well, I've already visualized my wife and kids. I've already visualized this. I'm like, what else? What about the car I want to drive? What about the house I want to have? What about this specific thing? Like, I don't know. Even sometimes I have to like, go into the minor things. Like, okay, well, I don't even know where to start with this thing. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to start with that ring on my finger. It's a little tiny piece of jewelry, but what does it signify? Oh, okay. And then I start visualizing like, what does she look like? What kind of traits does she have? What kind of traits do our kids have? What do they look like? What does our house look like? What are the specific things? Is it white marble? Is it black marble? Do we have statues? Do we have artwork? Do we have this? How big is our TV? Do we have a TV? What's outside? Is it a cabin in the woods somewhere? Is it a beach house? Is it New York City type of penthouse type of thing? Like trying to like get as much of like those little things as possible. And like, okay, that's also just because I've been also now doing it for consistently a little while.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, it's very important to mention that it's not just like, oh, I meditate. It's like, okay, well, that's a very large blanket for lots of different things underneath it, you know?
And I think for everybody, what works is going to be something different. And you kind of have to, and show yourself grace too, because like, it's not always going to be great. Like there are days where I do get interrupted with my meditation because I also have 4 dogs and they are annoying sometimes. And, you know, there's been days where I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like I can't keep trying to go back. I've got to get to work now. And so like, I just say, okay, today was not the day for that. That didn't work out as well. But or like journaling. I don't journal every day, even though I want to journal every day. I just sometimes don't even get to it, you know? But, and I think that's a big part of it. And I think like, especially like with you, like showing yourself grace and not feeling like, oh, well, I didn't do really good at this today. And I had these negative feelings about this. Like, it's okay. You're a human and you're figuring it out. And like, you're doing your best. And as long as you know you're trying, like you just have to be trying, right? Like that's the thing. And people
progress
just
over perfection.
Yeah, always. And just meeting yourself where you are for that day and saying, this is what I need today. And as long as you're making strides in the right direction. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Is there anything about NLP or learning confidence or anything like that we didn't touch on that you want to make sure that really gets talked about or said?
I mean, I think kind of just going back to what I was just saying really is like, there is no magic answer. Nobody is perfect. These people that I think a big thing that everybody needs to realize is like social media is doing us a lot of harm. And I work in marketing and I'm on it every day. And I'm like the biggest critic about it, but I also have to use it to my advantage. And people need to understand that social media is the highlight reel. It is not reality. It is not people's real life. And comparing yourself to what you see on social media is so harmful. And especially to like our younger people. I have a 13-year-old daughter and I worry about her mental health because of how life is right now. And she's on Instagram and all this stuff. And do what you need to do to make yourself happy and take care of yourself, especially right now. And take breaks from social media. Take breaks. Like in my house, we do no phone Sundays where like nobody's on their phone on Sundays. And we just And I'm the worst one about it because then I'm like, but I have 3 businesses. I need to check things. Like, but it feels so good to just put that phone away for the day because we don't need them. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, when I was even not a kid, we didn't have these phones all the time that did all this stuff and we survived. It was fine. And so I think, you know, realizing that it's so important to not get caught up in all of that stuff that you're seeing everywhere, and that you're comparing yourself, and that you're thinking you're behind, or you're not as good enough, or you're not this and you're not that. Start being more kind to yourself, because if you're kind to yourself, you're going to become a better person, and you're going to be a better person for the other people. And if we can I was a theater teacher for years, and I did a lot of stuff with these kids where I said, you really can make a difference. And they're like, I'm one person, I can't make a difference. I'm like, but if you make one difference for one person, they go out and make a difference, and it trickles out. Mm-hmm. And I just really think that taking care of ourselves is so important, because then we can really start to help others and be more accepting and be more loving. And good Lord, that's what the world needs now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So just be consistent. Don't think it's going to happen overnight, and we're never going to be perfect. And just keep trying, and be in charge of your brain. Like, you decide where you want it to go.
I love that.
That's amazing.
Well, Leslie, thank you for coming on. Thank you for teaching us about this cool new thing that neither one of us really knew a whole lot about. It was really cool to I always love learning new tools that kind of help in any way, whether it does have to be something that is used with other things or can be used by itself. Because I think everyone can use more tools to put in their backpack to be able to help themselves. And I know we kind of touched on some stuff that got a little emotional, so thank you for opening up and being vulnerable about that. I just want to say thank you for your time, and thank you for the knowledge and stuff that you've given us.
Thank you. It's been great. And I hope it helps you guys. I hope it helps people that listen to this, because that's my goal, is just let's just be happier. Let's just be happier.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
I appreciate that too.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to use some of the tips that you gave me today.
Good.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome.